Hello and a very good morning to Dr. Muhammad and also my beloved friends. So, we are from Group 8. My name is Nur Aisyah Zana binti Abdul Halim and today we're going to present motor skills learning.
Hello everyone, we are Group 8.
Hi, I'm Fatin.
Hello guys, this is Hani.
Hello everyone, and I am Ain. And this is our lecturer, Dr. Muhammad bin Haji Isman.
Hello guys, so before we dive deeper into this motor skills learning presentation, let's watch a video first that were made by me and my team. Everyone, so in the introduction we will be talking about the motor skills learning, like what is it, like how many are there. So basically motor skill learning is defined as the process by which movements are executed more quickly and accurately with practice. So we have three categories of motor skills learning. The first one is the motor control, the second one is the motor skills learning, and the third one is motor development. Without further ado, let's dive into the first categories, shall we? Well, the first category, which is motor control. So motor control can be defined as the process by human using central nervous system of the brain or cognitive to activate and coordinate the muscles and limbs involved in producing the behavior of a motor skill. To put it simply way, they are using their brain and thinking on how to move their muscles to perform any actions such as walking or running. Motor control also have several characteristics. Coming up, number one is flexibility. So, flexibility is the ability of the joints involved to move easily and smoothly with minimal resistance. It is like how you can move your body and bend without any limitations. For example, the flexibility traits can be shown in some sports like sepak takraw or figure skating. The next characteristic is uniqueness. So, uniqueness is the ability of the nervous system to produce and control unique movement or behaviors in sports that have unique skills. Uniqueness have more complex movement, and this trait can be seen in some sports like gymnastics or figure skating. Coming up, number 3 of the characteristic of the motor skill is consistency. Well, consistency can be defined as the nervous system that assists in controlling the body to produce consistent movement or actions. Well, in other words, consistency is the repeated movement or action in consistent manner. So, this kind of characteristic can be seen in some sport like badminton, cycling, or swimming? Well, the last characteristic is the ability to change movement. Well, the ability to change movement is the ability to change movement during the game and the ability of athletes to make skill changes rapidly while playing. The characteristic can be seen in sports or games like karate, or boxing, or taekwondo, mainly in martial arts, usually. Next, in motor control, we also have variables. Well, motor control can develop in many ways or variables, and there are 3 variables in motor control, which are practice, retention, and transfer. Well, coming up number 1, we have practice. Well, practice is basically an activities that perform specifically to improve your skill, performance, and need a lot of repetition, means repetition or practice. In other words, practice is an act that is regularly done to increase your skills and it becomes a habit or a routine. For example, for someone who practice swimming, they can practice their diving skills every day to improve their posture in swimming. Variables number 2 is retention. Well, basically, retention is emphasizing the degree to which people are able to remember or perform some previously practiced material or skill after an elapsed period of time. Well, it was mostly influenced by practice since when you are practicing some skills or movement, you will likely will remember what you practiced earlier. For examples, when you are learning choreography for a dance or a choreography for a figure skating, where you practice it every day, you will remember the sequences of every move. Well, the last one of the motor skills variables is transfer. Well, transfer is the influence of previous experience of performing a skill on the learning of a new skill or on the performance of the same skill in a new context. To put it in simpler word, transfer in motor skills is how you use previous skill or knowledge in certain skill and apply it to the new task or skill. In transfer, there's 2 types of transfer, which is positive and negative. Okay, so positive transfer is where your previous knowledge helps you develop the new skills. For example, an ice hockey player who picks up figure skating can use their skill on skating on ice as ice hockey player before and apply it to learn figure skating. While a negative transfer did otherwise. It makes your process of learning new skills harder or difficult. For example, a squash player who takes up tennis may find it difficult to learn to not use their wrist during shots.
I will continue with motor skills learning, model Fitz and Posner. Basically, Fitz and Posner proposed a model of skill acquisition that centered on 3 stages. In their now classic theory, performance was characterized by 3 sequential stages, termed a verbal cognitive stage, associative stage, and the last one is autonomy stage. We move on with the first motor skills achievement stage, which is verbal cognitive. This stage is the beginner or the lowest level in the process of learning motor skills, and because the learners or trainers are still beginner, they would need clear and detailed instructions to perform skills from the coach through oral or verbal and tutoring. Also, they are still in the process of learning basic skills of the game or sport. They might still ignorant about the rules of the sport, the techniques they need to use, and so on. Also, they tend to make a lot of mistakes in this stage. The next one is associative stage. It is an intermediate level in the process of learning motor skills. During this stage, all of the basic skills of the game that trainers or learners were taught in the previous stage need to be mastered. During this stage, learners will set the strategies for the implementation of the skills mentioned before. Due to the mastery of basic skills of the game, the mistakes that trainers or learners do are decreasing during this stage. However, they still need coach guidance to polish up some more of their techniques and strategies of the game. Also, they are able to correct their own mistakes in this stage. The last one is autonomy stage. This stage is the highest level of the acquisition of motor skills. In this stage, individuals are able to show good performance and ready to become professional athletes. They almost have no mistakes, maybe only 1 or 2 mistakes, and they can correct it on their own. The coach acts as a mentor in planning in.
Alright, so hello everyone, I'm Hani, and today I will be presenting on motor developments. But before that, here are a couple of pictures for you to get the idea of what motor skills actually are. So without further ado, let's get on into it. So, for motor developments, by definition, is a branch of the discipline of motor behavior that studies the effects of age on the learning and control of motor skills. There are many known phases of motor development. Among them are the reflex phase, the rudimentary phase, the fundamental phase, and the specifics in which we will further elaborate as this presentation goes by. So, sit tight and watch. First up is the reflex phase. This is the lowest level among the phases. The reflexive movement phase ranges from children of 4 months to 1 year, basically infants. This is usually for the newborn development from the head downwards. An example would be the reflexive movement ability of the neck until infants can sit without support. Second will be the rudimentary phase, ranging from the ages of 1 to 2 years old. This phase is mainly for toddlers' motor development of the body axis outwards. As an example, the ability to reach out something to the ability to reach a target and grip onto the object is a motor achievement in aspects of posture control. Other minor examples would be head control, sitting and standing easily without support. Lastly, the fundamental phase. For toddlers of 2 to 7 years old, the basic movements have already been mastered. So the real developments are in terms of the construction of specific motor skills from the basic skills that have been acquired from the years and phases before. Other than so, their childhood will obviously involve in a lot of continuous active movements as their motor coordination have already been mastered, like walking without support, running, jumping, and so forth. As we've stated before, there are also other specific phases other than the main ones before this. There is the first concept, the second concept, the third concept, and lastly the regressive phase. So for the first concept here, also known as sports skill, it ranges from the ages of 7 years old to adulthood, basically for your whole life. The peak of motor performance capability is achieved at this age. The second specific stage is growth and refinement, here being stated as the second concept. The person will be able to learn a variety of new skills by themselves and will be able to manipulate external physical force with the knowledge and muscle memory they have concerning motor development. The third concept, widely known as peak performance, the person will have the ability to estimate the force to be generated that suits the need of the environment. So not only will they have a broad knowledge of motor development itself, but they could also generate and manipulate the force to fit its environment. Lastly, the regressive phase. From the picture itself, I believe you can already get the idea that it is a phase to graduate from adulthood to senior citizen. Unfortunately, though, for all of us, it is also a stage of loss of control function in terms of quality and quantity of movement as the body will grow weaker in time.
Now, let's get into disabled students' learning approach. We have found 3 approaches, which are inclusive assessment, positive attitude, and also having a flexible curriculum. So, let's start on the first approach. The first thing we have on the deck is the inclusive assessment. Well, the inclusive assessment is used for disabled students or special needs students that need more special attention from us. So, basically, by using this approach, we can view students' performance at various levels and decide to provide what kind of needs
And what kind of attention do we need to attend them for? This approach can also help serve as a tool of self-evaluation to boost students' desire or interest to study motor skills. We can use effective humanistic approach by encouraging them, and instead of forcing them, we tend to their need and pay special attention to them.
This approach, we can also use other methods in measuring their physical fitness standard. For example, for those who are unable to use their legs for cycling or running on a treadmill, the scores won't be counted, and we can use other alternative method in counting their measuring physical fitness standard. With this inclusive assessment approach also, we can create a personalized baseline preference tools that may be used by students with disabilities. There are many types of disabilities, so by using this approach, we can make all students feel included by having personalized baseline preference tools.
The second learning approach for disabled students is positive attitude. Negative attitude toward inclusion are linked to lower accomplishment expectations for participants with disabilities and a tendency to encourage their absence, notably in PE or PJK, resulting in a considerable percentage of students with disabilities who partially or fully skip PE. It is quite challenging for PE teachers to handle it for a variety of reasons, but teachers should not focus only on their feelings to the point that they are deliberately excluding students with disabilities. Maintaining a positive attitude towards the issue can increase hope and morale towards those who had already given up hope in learning PE. Oftentimes, just the cheering and inclusion are enough for them to move forward.
Last but not least, for the disabled student approach to learning, we have flexible curriculum. There will only be one way if you stick to a strict schedule, right? So institutions of higher learning has been chastised for overemphasizing teacher-centered instruction and attempting to establish norm reference outcomes rather than the educational process itself. So providing assistance and customization based on the flexible knowledge of specialists who specialize in educating children with disabilities can help improve the educational process in the classroom. The Universal Design for Learning method, which was established as an adaptation of the universal design approach in architecture, has been advocated for inclusive PJK, also known as PE, has been recognized as a specialized practice of supporting adaptive practice for everyone.
In conclusion, physical health and education is an important subject to learn about for our daily activity routine. Knowledge about motor control is important just so we can control and apply our ability along with the principles. Alright, that will be all from us for motor skills learning. Thank you!